All right, we're back for the fourth and final segment of the TD show here today. As I was saying right before we went to the break, a tradition will end today, but it's not the Masters. Duke and Maryland will play last time as ACC opponents, or at least in the foreseeable future, as Maryland is moving to the Big Ten next year. Duke ranked 8th in the country, be playing them at home, I believe. And I mean, it's been a really good matchup for years, especially when Gary Williams was there.
Yeah, when Maryland had the run where they were so dominant there for a few years.
You had a meeting in the ACC tournament that one year where Duke came back from 10 or 11 with about 58 seconds there, and then you had Maryland fans calling, threatening J.J. Redick's life and his sister. So I mean, it's a good heated rivalry. It's definitely something that'll be missed. I mean, I'm sure Syracuse coming in, making that rivalry will make up for it just as much. But just something to see, something you hate to see go.
Yeah.
But staying on Duke, talking about Syracuse coming in, Maryland leaving in this new ACC structure, Duke will play North Carolina February 20th and turn around and play Syracuse February 22nd.
I saw that.
That's going to be, I mean, the future of the ACC is going to be tough.
The reason I looked it up was because I was looking at Syracuse and if they're going to stay undefeated, and at first I thought that Duke would beat them, but man, playing Carolina, and even though Carolina's down,
they're not the Carolina they used to be.
Carolina,
right.
It's like UK Louisville. It's going to be that game regardless.
That will be North Carolina's best game of the year.
Oh yeah, guaranteed.
So, I mean, you're right. I figured, Syracuse coming in to Cameron
would get beat.
Right.
But now I don't know.
Now it's a lot more iffy.
Because I was going to do a what to watch about it next week. That Duke was going to beat them at home.
No,
I don't know. Yeah.
But talking about Syracuse going to where they came from, the Big East, you have a Villanova and Creighton matchup tonight. The top two Big East teams, which is weird to say. Creighton, top two Big East teams.
Well, I mean, they got the number one player in the country right now.
Dougie McBasket.
Yeah.
What? Averaging 25 points a game. I mean, so that'd be a good game to watch.
That's the worst nickname I've ever heard.
Dougie McBasket? You don't like it?
No. Did you make it up?
No.
You stole it?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't like it.
Dougie McBasket? I mean, I'd like to be called Dougie McBasket.
I'd like to eat a McBasket of fries. I'm starving.
But that game's tomorrow. Number 6 Villanova at number 18 Creighton. Should be a good Sunday afternoon game to watch. We talked earlier about Arizona State fans rushing the floor. Staying kind of like on that same thing there, Marcus Smart.
Rushing the fans. Oh, my gosh. Here's the thing. We know, once again, we talked about Rich Incognito being a punk. It is known that fan is a punk. He's been a problem. A lot of coaches know about him, and everyone knows about it. I've seen video of him heckling other fans.
Just real quick. If you're a 55-year-old air control guy or pilot or whatever he is, I mean, what are you doing?
Oh, I agree.
What are you doing?
I'm not saying this guy's not a freaking idiot.
Because he is.
Yeah. But that being said, you do not hit a fan. You do not get up. You don't touch a fan intentionally.
I think we both think that they're both in the wrong.
I agree.
But, I mean, you're taught as a player, those fans don't exist.
Yeah,
no matter what happens.
No matter what they're doing, you don't acknowledge it. I mean, I've had bottles thrown at me. I mean, I didn't play college sports. I played high school sports. I've been spit on. I've had bottles thrown at me. I've been called lots of things. And, I mean, I can't imagine what it's like to be in college and maybe getting it worse. And I'm also a white man, which means I probably didn't get the worst of it.
Right.
But, I mean...
And there was early assumptions that this was racial, but it's turned out that it's not, which makes it
a piece of crap.
Right, which... I'd assume that you've had to hear before if you're playing college basketball.
I assume that that's one of the least derogatory things you've heard coming from a fan.
You've had to hear worse than that if you're playing Major D1 basketball.
Yeah. So he got 3 games.
Right.
A lot of people were saying he shouldn't have got anything. I don't know.
Well, I saw people saying he should be done. So, I mean, there was both sides to it.
I don't know that... I see. If he had hauled off and jacked somebody,
Yeah.
I'd say he'd probably be done. And he did shove him, and I'm not agreeing with it. But man, if I was his coach,
Travis Ford,
it wouldn't have took the NCAA saying nothing. I said, son.
Well, I believe that Travis Ford took the initiative on himself, met with the Big 12 and the NCAA to see what they thought he should do. But he took the initiative on himself.
He said he was going to do something. He did say he was going to do something. But I just said, son, you best go put some clothes on and go get to class.
Right. Whether you disagree with the length of it or whatever, I think Travis Ford, from a coaching standpoint,
I think he handled it right.
Said and did all the right things.
Now, I heard a lot of people throwing a fit saying, why wasn't Travis Ford involved when this was going on? He was also on the other side of the court.
Right.
And he was also had 4 other people. He was also calling a play, and it took place pretty quickly.
Yes. But all things considered, I think Travis Ford was in a good position with everything.
Marcus Smart should have went to the NBA. I think that's what it boils down to.
If there's ever been a player lose draft stock quicker, I don't know who it is.
Yeah, he's definitely went downhill pretty quickly. We've seen a few big blowups in the NBA where people go after fans, and it's a lot more costly than 3 games usually.
Maybe him and Metta World Peace could get together. Rasheed Wallace, that's
what I'm about to add.
See if they could. But while we're on the topic of Oklahoma State, Marcus Smart, and the NBA, I think I've asked this before, but if Coach Cal goes to the Knicks, Travis Ford's still the guy you want?
I don't know. I don't know that he's gonna come. I don't know if he's the guy that they're gonna go get. I'll tell you who I want, but it's not gonna happen, and that's Tom Izzo.
Yeah, I agree.
But
I'm a Tom Izzo lover. Yeah,
we missed that boat, and maybe he'd come. I don't know. I don't know what his contract situation is. Michigan State. That's who I'd
imagine y'all can pay him more than whatever they can pay him.
That's who I'd approach first. But that being said, if you couldn't get Tom Izzo, I wouldn't have a problem going after Travis Ford.
And I've heard it said, and you've heard it said too, that Travis Ford might be a little bit of punk on the personal level. I know this is going to upset a lot of people.
Oh yeah.
But Coach Cal, I could see being a punk in certain situations.
Yeah, maybe. I agree. We had Gillespie, who's the biggest punk of all time.
Yeah.
Rick Pitino's a huge punk.
Yeah, you can be a punk and be successful.
Yeah.
It generally helps.
Especially in the UK. If you win, it doesn't take a lot else.
But finishing up kind of with collegiate and professional sports, just want to reiterate going into hunting just for a second that there will be hunter education classes at Cumberland County, February 20th and the 22nd. That's this coming up week. You can get on the Kentucky Fish and Wildlife Department website to see the exact times and the where of those. As we said last week, just it's required if you're under a certain age. It's something you want to take your kids to anyways to help them get educated. But going as we usually do, from the outdoors to the kitchen, 2 minutes with Paula Dan.
Gonna throw on a big slab of beef.
What do you have for us today, Dan?
What I got today is a little bit different. It's not really
Is it Russian?
No, it's Japanese.
You ever heard of Russian food? I wonder what they do in Russia.
They make vodka out of potatoes. So I assume they make a lot of things with potatoes.
Maybe they just don't eat a lot. They just drink a lot of vodka.
Yes. I'm assuming they eat fish. I don't know.
Yeah, but anyways.
What I'd like to talk to you about today, I've been doing kind of home cooking type deals. Valentine's Day, my wife is a big fan of hibachi style food. So I kind of learned how to...
You gotta help me. No.
Hibachi, shogun.
Okay. Right.
Japanese.
Oriental food.
Yeah, well, Japanese.
Okay, Japanese.
Japanese food.
Okay.
So we try to learn how to make it at home. We manage the food pretty well, but we could never make the white sauce.
Are you giving out your white sauce recipe?
Giving out my white sauce recipe.
Oh, wow.
I'm trying to get listeners here, TJ.
All right, hey.
Here's my Daniel Brand's official white sauce recipe.
This is a big deal.
You get... The first few things I'm going to give you are important as to how much you put in there. The spices towards the end is to taste. You need about 2/3 cup of mayonnaise, 1/3 cup of water. You're going to mix that together. TJ doesn't like mayonnaise, but he likes this, and I'll tell you why. Because after that, you're going to get 2 tablespoons of sugar and put in there. That's going to sweeten up that mayonnaise. After that, you're going to get about a tablespoon and a half of tomato paste. Do not use ketchup. If you use ketchup, it won't work. Tomato paste breaks down into individual particles of tomato. Ketchup is a liquid, and it will not break down right. You're going to put all that into a cup. You're also going to get half a stick of butter. Melt that butter. Pour that into the cup. You mix all that up, and this is where it gets to your taste. You have 3 seasons that go into this: paprika, garlic, cayenne pepper. Paprika, you want to put about a teaspoon, not a tablespoon, but a teaspoon of paprika, and you want to put half a teaspoon to a teaspoon of garlic, depending on how much you like garlic. And then you want the cayenne. You don't want to go over a teaspoon, but you can put less if you want to have a little less kick in it. All you do, you mix all those together, whisk it up, and put it in the refrigerator. This is important that you put it in your refrigerator for at least 4 to 6 hours. It needs to set up before you try and eat it, or it's not going to have the right taste. It's going to be a little too mayonnaisey if you don't let it set up and let that tomato and sugar kind of do its job in breaking that down. So there you have it, Daniel Bragg's official white sauce recipe.
That's big news. Breaking news.
Yeah.
The Daniel Bragg white sauce recipe leaked.
I do what I can for the people, TJ.
Y'all better take that and use it effectively.
But before we leave the hunting and fishing outdoor world segment altogether,
Okay.
I'd like to touch on a couple things.
All right. Hey, you got the floor.
It's going to be in the 60s next weekend. Next Saturday, I think it's supposed to be the upper 50s, lower 60s, and overcast. If you can and you want to, you need to get out on the water and check it out. What I'm recommending that you try out next weekend is a jerk bait. It's a suspending hard bait, and you work that really slow and erratically. All you do is take your tip of your rod, and point it at the bait in the water. Those baits are going to settle in the 2 to 3 feet of water range, and exactly what it sounds like you do. Jerk that bait to the side with your rod, and then take your rod, point it back at it after every jerk, and then do that in a cadence of maybe 2 jerks, and then reel in your slack, 3 jerks, reel in your slack, and then let it set for 2 seconds. Because these bass are sluggish, but they will hit that when you let it set. You're going to jerk it 3 times, let it set, and they're going to hit that. What the bass are looking for right now is dying bait fish. The hot and cold weather fluctuation is killing off a bunch of bait fish. The bass are feeding up, getting ready to spawn here in about a month, so they're not doing much. They're kind of hanging out, just eating. So you want your bait to look like a dying fish that's easy for them to get, and you want a bait that's big enough that it's going to fill them up on one swallow, because they might only eat once a day. So you want to get them something that's going to entice them. So I'm suggesting getting you about a 4-inch, 4.5-inch jerkbait, and work that pretty slow and pause it for a long period of time. If you're in a place that's got some deeper water that maybe you can't work a jerkbait in as well, I'm recommending you get a football jig, which is a stand-up jig with some kind of a crawfish trailer on it. And you don't want to imitate a crawfish. You want to imitate a sick or dying bluegill that's kind of sunk down to the bottom. And when that jig stands up and that trailer flutters, it's going to look like a bluegill. Same exact scenario. The fish want something that's going to be easy, because if the water's cold, they're sluggish, but they want to get full quickly and fatten up for the spawn. So that's what I'm recommending you do if you want to go out and take advantage of this warmer weather we're going to have. Because it's going to be 60, that water is still going to be 40, 41 degrees.
So instead of a what to watch, we got a what to do.
What to do this week.
What to do next week. All right, so transitioning now to local sports. Still high school basketball season. We saw Glasgow come to town Tuesday, and after the boys only lost by 2 and the girls only lost by 7, I believe it was, last time they played, we end up getting beat by combined 80 points.
The boys have got their heads down a little bit. I'm hoping that I'm not putting a lot of stock in the rest of the season. I'm hoping that they can figure out that, hey, nothing matters as long as we win that first game of district.
That's right.
That's what I've got my hopes set on. When we go and play that first game of district, they're fired up. Because we saw what they did against Glasgow.
Right.
It was a good team. They should have beaten them. They could have beaten them. And when they are fired up and focused, they knock down their shots. That's the thing. If we get 3-pointers to drop, we're unbeatable. But we rely on that 3 too much. We've got to learn how to set up the 3, which is by driving into the middle, popping it back out, and then you've got those open looks at 3. And if you don't, then you flip it down to someone inside. Now we know Austin Pennington's been hurt, and I I don't know if they even know what's wrong with him yet, but hopefully he'll get better soon. Not just for basketball, we want him to get to feeling better, but we'd love to have him back to have this little threat outside. But the girls, once again, we know how good Glasgow's girls are. You know, they won Class A state championship, but our girls have played tough with them at Glasgow. They were fired up. The fans were there. There were quite a few fans there, and I'm proud of the fans for being there for part of the time.
They are nowhere in this world better, 40 points better than
oh no,
we are. No, not even close to that. Just, I feel like we got down early and we just kind of gave up a little bit. We just didn't feel like we could fight back. I think we got down 15 there in the second quarter. And
when they've got a chance and when they're playing close, they play hard. And this is what happened in Allen County. We ended up losing to Allen County on Thursday night. I didn't get to go. I did get to listen to it. We got within 3 at the end of the third quarter there. Then they came out to start the fourth and scored 3 quick baskets and got us down by about 10 points. And once we got down 10, we ended up losing by 12. We could never fight back. When things go wrong, we tend to get down. We've got 2 good quarters in us. We've got a good first quarter and a good third quarter usually. It's that second, fourth quarter when things go bad, we can't get it together. After halftime, David fires them up. I heard some of the things he was saying to the players, and I'm telling you, he will fire people up. He knows what he's doing. He knows how to motivate. They're just not quite there. And it's frustrating because they have so much talent and they just can't get it done.
So the boys have 3 games left in the regular season before we get to district. They have Monroe County at home tonight. Monroe County 16-9 on the season. Last time we played them at Monroe County, lost 66-41. So I mean, we know it'll be a tough game tonight. They're a good opponent.
Well, here's another thing. Monroe County just played Clinton County yesterday. They lost 79-44. So they lost by 35 to Clinton County. Clinton County beat us pretty good, but it was only 37.
Right.
The first time we played them. I think we can play with Monroe.
I mean, we know we can play with them.
Yeah.
If they come out there and play like they're capable of, we know that we can play with them. But I mean, it's going to take us playing well to play with them.
And we're going to have to play well for 4 quarters.
Right.
We're not going to have to play out of our minds for 4 quarters. We're going to have to play for 4 quarters.
Right.
We can't have a 2-point quarter, which is something we tend to get into. In that second quarter, we'll come out and score 17, 18 points first quarter, and we'll score 4. And I don't know what that second quarter slump is that we need to get over. I don't have an answer for it. I wish I did. I'm sure David wishes he did. But for some reason, that second quarter and then at the beginning of that fourth quarter, we just hit a slump. And then towards the end of the game, we're always trying to rally back, but we've already got ourselves out of it where we can't get back within it.
Then Berrien County at home next Tuesday night. They're 18-7, have beat up on Glasgow twice this year. So, I mean,
Berrien County is pretty good. I've watched them play 4 times this year. And they're a good all-around team. They're a deep team. They've got 12 people that can come in and play. I really, really like Berrien County and the way they're built.
Then we got Caverna at home, the last home game of the season, next Thursday. Caverna's lost 5 in a row. They will play Camelsville before they play us. But you got to feel like it's a good shot there to get a win.
Going into district.
Make you feel good about yourself. Thinking you have a good shot of upsetting that team in the first round of district.
I agree. I think that Caverna is a team that we can beat. I mean, if you look at their scores, they're scoring in the 50s and the 40s most of the time, which is something that's kind of around where we're at most of the time. I do like our odds to come back and beat Caverna. Like you said about Berrien County, it's going to be a tough game. Berrien County, I really like that way Berrien County's built and the way they've been playing. I'm not opposed. I'm not in the school mind that thinks we can't beat Monroe tonight. We could, but I thought we could beat anybody we played, with the exception of maybe 3 games this year.
I think if you win 1 game out of those 3, you feel good going to district. If you win 2, I mean you're on top of the world going in district.
Yeah, and I'm telling you, if those boys can win a district game and get a little support behind them. I'm telling you,
anything's possible in district.
But they have the talent that if they get fired up and get support behind them, anything is possible. I agree. So I hope that things turn around. Y'all need to come out and support them. Whether or not we win, they always play hard, always entertaining to watch. They're going to be at home tonight at 6 o'clock.
Talk about the girls. Their last few games of the season. They actually have 4 left, but the boys only have 3. They'll play Monroe at home tonight as well. Monroe girls 15-9 on the season, beat us 68-29. one of the better teams in the region.
Probably the second best team. Could be the first best team in the region. Glasgow and Monroe are pretty evenly matched. I've seen both of their girls play. They play a lot alike. Monroe is a lot smaller than Glasgow, but they're faster and they dump the three a lot better than Glasgow does. But Glasgow's got a lot more power inside. I think they're 1-2 or 2-1, however you want to look at it in the region this year. So one of the best teams in the region, certainly going to contend for a region. I think the winner is going to contend for a state championship out of those two teams. So that's going to be a tough game. But that being said, our girls like to play hard, and I'd like to see a shocker. We know they've lost 9 games this year. They are beatable. They can have down games.
After that, you got Barron County.
Which is a winnable game.
Barron County at home Tuesday and Caverna at home also on Thursday. Caverna 13-11 in the 5th region. So, I mean, you feel like those are probably both games that you can win.
Yeah, Barron County girls are not near as good as their boys. I've seen the girls play quite a few times. I mean, they're scoring some points, but they've lost a lot of games. I do think that the Barron County girls is something we can handle, and the Caverna girls, they've won a lot of games as well. But like you said, 5th region games play a little different style of basketball. I think we're a lot bigger than them. We can handle them. I like our girls to come out of this 2-2 or 2-3.
Like I said about the boys, with looking at these 3 games kind of differently than that last game that we'll get to. I think if you win 1 there, you feel good. But if you win 2, you feel on top of the world with them 2 going in. But I feel like they can beat both Barron and Caverna, both at home. But the kind of the odd thing on our schedule here this year, our final game for the girls is an away game at Thomas Nelson, who's in the 5th region. We'll play them next Friday there. It's in Nelson County, Bardstown. It's only their 3rd years of school and only their 1st year with all 4 grades. And all that being said, they're 15-10.
Yeah, I saw that.
I mean, is that not impressive?
Yeah.
To be 15-10. So, I mean, we really have no idea what we're getting.
No, I
there.
have no idea what goes on, and I don't.
Which is why I kind of separated it. If you win 1 or 2 of those first 3, you know, you're happy about that. But with this one, I mean, we'll just kind of have to watch and see. It's kind of weird going there on a Friday right before district the next week. But
yeah, and as far as I know, I don't think any of the games that we missed for snow are going to be made up. They weren't district games. We've already made up the Clinton County game we missed. If for some reason I find out anything there tonight, I'll post it. But I like the girls' odds to win two out of 4 games.
Right.
There. And I like the boys' odds
to at least win
1 of those games and could possibly win 2 of those games. So we'll see what happens.
So I mean, yeah, make sure. I mean, to me and you, Monroe County is like a district opponent.
Yeah,
when they
were for so long.
Right, and it was our senior year, I guess, or maybe our junior year.
We switched to Russell.
That Russell County moved into the district, and they
moved to Glasgow's district.
Glasgow and Barron and
Allen
and
Monroe. Glasgow, Barron, Allen, Monroe.
Right. So just come out. It's an opponent we're used to seeing here. Come out and support them.
Former Meghalf County and be coaching on the bench over there in Kirkpatrick.
Yeah. So. Be sure to come out and coach against or root against Coach K.
Yeah.
It's an enjoyable thing to do. When we're back next week, we'll be talking district tournament.
Yep.
That'll be the only thing left on the schedule. So we look forward to that.
Yep. Look, district tournament's an exciting time. Regardless how your season's gone, district tournament's a whole new season, whole new ball game.
0-30 can still make region.
Yeah, it's not. It doesn't have anything to do with you don't have to get in. You're automatically in. All you gotta do is win a game, and then anything's possible.
That's right. So be sure to join us next week. We will definitely talk high school basketball. We'll talk about these games that we just discussed, previewed. We'll talk about preview district coming up next week, and we'll see you next week. Thanks for joining us.